Hello everyone and welcome to YouTube Tuesday, session 127 with me, Jessica Brigden of Jess B Creative Cardiology. Hello, I hope you're having a great start to your week. I had originally planned to showcase the Splendid Day collection again. That is currently 60% off in Stampin' Up's retiring mini catalog right now. But I'm going to take a little detour. I had a conversation, it was a text conversation with a stamping friend earlier today, and she's in another time zone, which is why we were texting. And it reminded me that this can be a very difficult time of year for a lot of people. For some people, they feel that the holiday season is there's a lot of excitement and things going on, but whether you celebrate holidays or not, it can also be a reminder of loss, especially if you've lost a loved one or have a lot of things going on at this time of year as well. We're also in the winter season, so I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm solar powered, and when there's no sunlight or very little and our days are short, it can get kind of depressing, and you can feel a little bit under the weather. So I'm going to share a couple of projects with you today that I hope will brighten your day, cheer you up. But perhaps, like me, maybe you have a lot of sympathy cards to send out at this time of year. These things kind of go in spurts, and all of a sudden I have several friends who have lost loved ones, and I need to make a lot of sympathy cards. So I'm going to share with you a seasonal sympathy card, but then I'm also going to share with you a treat package, because if you're sending somebody a care package, then a little chocolate helps. But on top of that, it was a nice reminder to me that that a handmade card can make a big difference in brightening someone's day, and even when we're going through tough times, sometimes making cards or writing out cards and sending cards to others is a way to maybe distract ourselves from our own situation, give us a little perspective, and do something that can do something positive to help others. Hi Kathy, hi Rachel, hello ladies. So I hope you'll stick around. I hope you enjoy these projects I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to be using a seasonal designer paper from the mini catalog that's got pine cones and pine boughs and different greenery. I'm from northern up in New York, and so these are the types of things. I have pine trees in my yard. We have a lot of greenery, and when the leaves fall off the maple trees, at least the pine trees give us a little bit of color. So this is on page 29 of your mini catalog. This particular paper pack is on sale. It's 60% off right now for $4.80. So I'm going to show you a couple things that you can do with it here. I'm also going to be pulling in my trusty Peaceful Moments stamp set. I love this one because it really has sentiments for all different moments, including a really nice sympathy sentiment. So this is one of my go-to favorites as well. So I'm going to flip the camera and we'll get started doing some stamping here. All right, glad you are joining me here today. And it's a little dark here in the stamp room, but hopefully you guys can see. I'll pull in my extra light here. Hi, Karen. Oh, from Scotland. I have been doing all kinds of research on Scotland pinning things. We are hoping that when we travel for the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip in May, which will be a cruise out of Southampton, England, I think I've convinced David, if we can work it out with his schedule, to extend a few extra days so that we can travel to Scotland as well, because I have this it's in my bucket list item to be able to see the Scottish Highlands. So so I'm excited that you're on today, Karen. Thank you. All right, just a reminder too, For the month of December here, my host code 4M9VCZ6F. And that way I can send you, if your order is over $25, I've got some designer paper samplers that I am sending out with all the orders. Of course, I've got my tutorial bundles that I'm sending out as well. And we have the last chance list, the clearance list, all these things going on. So lots of products you can get at 60% off and combine with all kinds of things. All right, so this is just showing you some of the beautiful patterns in that paper. So I'm going to start with my card, and I'm using a crumb cake card base here because that is a nice neutral that pretty much goes with everything. Man, it's dark in here. All right, so 5.5 by 8.5 here. And we'll just this is actually a super simple card, and you can, it's a kind of one of my go-to templates as well that I like to use. And so I'm going to do a layer of early espresso, and you'll notice that my border is a bit wider than usual. I wanted that crumb cake to be able to show, and so I've cut my designer paper down to, let me just double check here. This is 3.5 by 4 3/4. All right, so it's actually a full 3/4 of an inch smaller than the card base. Okay, so we're just gonna pop this in the middle here. All right, checking out your comments. Oh, David is watching too. Hello, honey. Rachel says she feels the same way about the sun and struggles with some seasonal affective disorder. Yeah, I agree, especially when these days are short. Thankfully, we are getting closer to, what is it, December 21st? Is that when the days start getting a little bit longer again? So anything that helps. All right, so I'm going to, I wanted just a little more contrast, a little pop here. So I've cut a layer of basic white. And so this is 3.25 by 4.5. So this one is 1/4 of an inch smaller than the early espresso. Here of our basic white. Okay. And then what I'm going to do so that I position my designer paper, I realized I got a little overzealous and I put my adhesive on it already. I should not have done that. I want to stamp my sentiment down here in the corner, and I'm going to do a pullback technique with a designer series paper. So I'm going to use my Sympathy stamp here from the Peaceful Moments. So let me grab that. I'm going to use some early espresso ink, and I've come to realize that I think my early espresso ink, I think it's time to upgrade this pad because I've used up the last of my re-inker for the old style, and it's getting pretty light. So I think I need to go ahead and get a new early espresso, or at least another refill for it. Okay, so I've stamped that down here in the corner just so I know exactly where I want it to go, and that way I can be sure to pull, when I do my pull back, I can pull my cardstock back the right amount. So I did get a little overzealous. Technically, when you do this, you want to put adhesive only on like 2.5 sides so that you can leave this bottom corner to be able to pull it up. So I'm going to position this here towards the top. I cut this paper, what is this one? So I did 3 3/4, 3.5, 3.25, 3.25 by 4 here. And so I'm going to gently tack that down, but not stick this corner because I want to pull this back at a slight angle here. All right, so it's okay. I'm gonna put something over that, so it's okay that it's a little sticky there. I did put a little bit of adhesive there just to hold that backing in place. Hi, Karen. Oh, we've got two Karens on today. Karen from Scotland and Karen from is it Montana, correct? All right, so we've got that pulled back. And now I'm going to pull in. I hate that this is Christmas because, again, this is winter pine cones and leaves and berries, things that we have. And in fact, the dies that go with this are called seasonal labels dies. That's a nice collection, both this stamp set and the dies. These are actually in the annual catalog. It's where you guys may have recognized the designer paper. When this all came out, this made its debut, I think it was last year. And it was a whole like seasonal suite. And then Stampin' Up! Carried the stamp set and the seasonal labels dies, made them a core item in the annual catalog, and then the designer series paper took a little hiatus and then reappeared in our July to December catalog again this year. So these are in the annual catalog on pages 44. All right, and then there is another stamp set that goes with it. So that's what I'm using there. And then the designer series paper is on page 29 in your mini. And like I said, that's 60% off for $4.80. Okay, so I pulled out, we're gonna layer our pine cone here. I'm gonna use some crumb cake and some early espresso. So we have more of our bold image and then the detail that overlays. All right, and then I'm going to use, we've got a couple of pine bough stamps here, and so I'm going to use one to make a couple little sprigs to go with it. And then we will use our pine cone stamp and our die and our sprig die as well. But yes, that's a lot of dies in that seasonal labels collection there. Okay, so whoops, the card is sticking to me because I prematurely put adhesive on that. All right, so I'm going to start here with a scrap of basic white, and I wanted it just to be, in fact, I think it's about a 2 3/4 inch square. Hi, Sandy. Hello. Hi, Kathy. Hello, hello. All right, so I'm using my crumb cake for my pine cone. This is the kind of the bold, more solid image. Okay, and then we're going to come in with the more detailed one with our early espresso, and I'm going to layer this on top. Hi, Nessa. Hello in the UK. Glad you could join me here. All right, so we're gonna pop this right on top there, and that gives us a more realistic looking pine cone. And then we'll pull in some evening evergreen for our pine boughs. All right, and I've got room on here. Like I said, I think this is about a 2 3/4 inch square of designer series paper. So big enough for the large pine cone and 2 of the sprigs. And then we'll take our Stampin' Cut and Emboss. You can use your full size or your mini. All right, so you'll have to run this through, there's 2 leaves and 1 die here, so you'll have to run those through twice. But when we run that through our machine, then we do end up, we get our nice die cut pieces. So you can tell I did I did get a little head start and stamp and cut a few of those. But I have a little more white space showing than I'd like, so I'm gonna bring in my little dauber bin here, and let me test that one. Okay, so that's a brownish, so I can use that for some crumb cake. And I want a green. Okay, so that's, let's see, I've got 2 daubers. We'll see which one's closest. Looks like they were both a garden green shade, so I'm going to use that for my early espresso. And come in here and just add just a little something extra, just right around the edge of my pine cone here. Okay, So we'll do that, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my pine boughs, the pine needles there. So we'll take our our evening evergreen, and I'm just gently going to go right around the edges. Okay. So again, just making some winter season projects. Amongst some family and friends, we've had a slew of funerals and things, and so I need a good collection of sympathy cards. And but in contrast with sympathy, I also want to make some treat packaging for some little care packages. So we'll be using here these seasonal pine cone papers and the stamp set too. And if you're just joining, the sentiment is from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. That's in the annual catalog as well. So we'll put some dimensionals on the back of these. We're going to position our pine cone first. And so I'm going to kind of sit that straight. I thought about turning it, but if you like things perpendicular and you want it, you know, our words are going straight, I'm going to put that right here in the middle. Okay, that would also help hold the flap back if you hadn't put a little bit of adhesive behind it. And then we'll take our pine boughs and we can put them right here along the edge of the fold. And we'll just tuck these in under here. I know these are the worst kinds of cards to make, but at the same time, they're some of the most important cards to make, because this is when our friends are in need and they need that comfort. Dessa says she makes sympathy cards in bulk. Yes, when she doesn't need them, so she's not so emotional making them. That's a good idea, Nessa. It's true. But then it seems like I end up going through all of those, or it's just not. Sometimes, you know, you need like a particular, you have something in mind for someone. So yes, it works both ways. All right, so I was thinking I'd put just a couple little gems, nothing too major. Let's see here. I really need to do an overhaul because this is my bin of embellishments and it's got way too much stuff in it. So you know what, these in color jewels, those are actually retired. I don't know, I didn't check. These were on the clearance rack actually, so it might be worth checking them out. What replaced them are the in color opal rounds in the annual catalog. So if you can't find these, then the opal rounds are still available. Yes, okay, so let's see here. Yes, I agree with your comment, sisters, that we need to hang on to a wonderful hope for the future. No more suffering. It can't come soon enough. So let's see, I'm putting, these are soft succulent that I'm using, just a tad lighter than the evening evergreen, but real subtle. I mean, with it being a sympathy card, you don't want anything too flashy. But there we have it. So I think that will work nicely for some of the winter sympathy cards that I need here right now. But I'm going to show you how you can take essentially the same supplies and make something a little more cheerful. So I'm going to bring in the treat bags. This may look familiar to you. We had done a project, I think back in October. I did little pumpkin treat bags with the craft bags, and actually these are the Peekaboo treat bags from page 140 in the annual catalog. You get a package of 10, and that includes 5 of the crumb cake or the craft and 5 of the white. So you get a mixed, you get both colors in the same packaging. Okay, so I thought I would use these pretty pine cone papers and decorate our treat packaging here. So for this, you just need a couple little strips of designer paper, and that actually worked out good. I've been making a few other cards, and I had several of these like 1.5 inch strips, and so I really didn't have to trim. I just had to cut it to the right width. But yes, this first one at the top here is 1.5 by 3 3/4. 1.5 by 3 3/4. You could use either side. You could use the pine boughs, or I'm going to use the pine cones. All right, so 1.5 by 3 3/4, and we'll stick that right here in the middle. And then for the bottom, you need a 1-inch strip by 3 3/4. So again, these come together so quickly. Love these little treat bags. They are, what does it say? They are food safe. Although if you're like me, I prefer to use something that already has a wrapper in it. But you could, if you want to put a single cookie in there, maybe you could do that. Again, I'm using a 2 3/4 inch square of basic white, or just a scrap, and we're going to do stamp another pine cone here, because I thought we could create a little element here for the middle of our treat bag. So again, go ahead and stamp your pine cone with a crumb cake. Then we'll do our second layer with the early espresso. Okay. All right. The nice thing with this is that it doesn't have to line up perfectly. If it's a little off, every time I stamp this, I stamp it a little bit different. If you were really particular about that, you could definitely use your Stamparatus and have it perfectly lined up, but I kind of like it a little bit off. And then I'm going to do a couple more. Oops, I'll have to do that another one. Let me see if I will flip that over, and that way I can still get a second one out of there. Okay, so again, pull in our seasonal labels dies here that include the dies for the pine cone and the pine bough. All right, so I'll run these two through first, and then I'll come in, and that way I can get the second one there. Okay, so we'll do a little snap, crackle, pop through the machine. All right, then we have these. Again, I liked how that looked with the just sponging the edges a little bit, and I already have still enough ink on here that I think without re-inking, I'll just use what's on my daubers here. I don't have a dauber for every color. I tend to use them general, so I'll have a dauber designated for my greens. I'll have one for my browns, another for yellows, one for blues, etc. You certainly could do one for every color, but I find that's not really necessary here, so sponge that on. All right, so I was thinking I would kind of arrange it the same way with this in the middle, but I'm kind of thinking too that it might look kind of nice to add just a little something else. So I've got some of the Evening Evergreen sheer ribbon. I had used up my previous spool, so I have a brand new one here. And this ribbon is just so pretty that I think I'll actually do a couple of, I'm going to put my adhesive directly on the front of the treat bag, so just a couple little lines there. And I'm going to kind of fold, so fold it once, fold it twice. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So if I put that out, then technically it's about 12 inches of ribbon. So I'm going to place that on here. There we go. Just do a little figure 8 on the front. Okay, and that way it's got something to stick to. Then we can come back in with our dimensionals here and put a couple on each. Okay. All right, here we go. So we'll put this kind of right in the middle. I think that'll work. Yeah, kind of right in the middle, and then tuck these in. Let's see. All right, I'm not sure I'm loving the ribbon like that. Let me see. At least you could totally, you could pull it up and everything's not too sticky. Let's see. Because the pine cone hides that, so don't go too crazy. Let me try this, and if I see if I like this better, and if I don't, I'll just put it back. But I'm going to do a little bow here with my evening evergreen ribbon. All right, let's try that. I'm going to pull this tight so I can get a nice angled cut. And then pull that off. And then let's try a glue dot for that. What do you guys think? Does that look, do you like that better than the ribbon behind? What do you guys think? Hi, Melanie. Hello, hello. Okay. All right. So, yep, reading your comments here. Yeah, what do you guys think? I think I like the ribbon like that just a little bit better. And then, of course, no treat packaging is complete without treats. So, especially if you're sending a little something. Homemade cookies are fabulous. You could put like some trail mix or something. I'm partial to chocolate, so I'm going to include a couple of Ghirardelli squares because they fit perfectly in here. Okay, good. You guys are liking the ribbon better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this open. And what I didn't realize before is that these bags are actually gusseted, so they will open a little wider than they look, okay? So you can make them just a little bit bigger. And then the nice thing, if you do like Ghirardellis or any other wrapped chocolates, they come in pretty little foil wrappers, depending on the season, so you could get some to match your project. I think the gold works pretty well there. And then you can just seal that up. And these mail, you will need like a little padded envelope or something, but they're fairly flat and they're not like real bendy. So I found that they do mail pretty well. And whether your chocolate breaks or not, I mean, it still tastes the same. So, so there we have it. So pretty simple. But I've used, again, the seasonal, the pine cone papers. These are on page 29 of your mini catalog, on clearance for $4.80 for the pack of 12 by 12. And of course, the treat packaging, that's in your in your annual catalog. All right, so you get 10 little treat bags, both the craft and the white here. That's the one we made. I have a video for that from back in October if you want to check that out. And yeah, and then a handy dandy Peaceful Moment stamp set. That's definitely a good one to have on hand. So unfortunately, you know, I need sympathy cards, but I'm glad to be able to make them and be able to hopefully bring a smile to someone's face. So there you have it. Tough cards to make, but definitely necessary. And I hope this has given you a little inspiration and will give you a go-to idea as well. So thank you guys so much for following along with me today. If you've enjoyed the video, Please remember, thumbs up, the whole like, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate that. And be sure to share with your friends and family, other crafters. Yes, it makes a nice little set. I was thinking I could send these together. Actually, I have a few people in mind. So thank you guys. Have fun. Happy stamping to you all. And I think I will go back to probably using the Splendid Day collection. So stay tuned for Friday's video, and we'll go back to using that. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.